Hey, I wanted to jump on here real fast and just give you some encouragement. Look, I know what it's like to feel like life just won't let up. Like every time you get your head above water just a little bit, here comes another wave just crashing down, another bill, your car broke down again, another challenging situation, another unexpected setback, another moment that really makes you think, damn, when am I ever gonna get a break? And if you've been feeling like that, like you've been feeling like the struggle has just lasted way too long, like you've seen way more losses than wins lately, this message is for you. So stick around because I need you to hear me when I say this. Seasons change, but how you go through this one, that's what's going to determine how fast the next one comes. See, most people don't realize that they're keeping themselves stuck in the same thing that they're trying to get out of because they're locked in on it. They're focused in on it. They're feeding it with their energy, with their emotions, with their thoughts. And if that's where your mind stays, then that's where your life's going to stay. If you're always just focused in on the negative things that are going on for hours at a time or days at a time, you're going to stay in the struggle. You're going to stay in the stressed out energy because that's what you're projecting. And one of the things that really gets me is the people that, and you may be like this, and if you are, I suggest you change, but the people that are, it's always something. You know those people, you've said it, I've said it. Some other challenging situation happens and we just immediately go to, it's always something. Well, the fact of the matter is, it's not always something. We have more good days than we do bad days, or more neutral days than we do challenging days. So it's not always something. We have a few challenging days or a few challenging moments, rather, within a week. And then we let those little challenging moments define our entire week or our entire month or our entire existence. You've let a few challenging circumstances in your life dictate the rest of your life. And it's time to stop that. We'll make it through a whole month, amazing days for 28 days. Then we have 2 days where we had some challenging situations, and then our entire month gets defined by the 2 days that were challenging. We completely disregard the 28 days that were either neutral or fantastic, whatever's peppered through there, and we hone in on those 2 days that were challenging. It wasn't even 2 days that were challenging. It was an event or a few events in one day that was challenging. And so we throw the whole rest of the day away like, oh, that day sucked because I was inconvenienced for 30 minutes. And so then we count that as a whole day in our week. And not only that, you're punishing yourself because you take that little challenging moment in that one day and you spread it out through your entire week. That you're just punishing yourself because the event's over with. The event happened yesterday. You can't change it. What we started teaching our kids was, when, after school, we asked them, how your day was. And it used to be, I had a bad day, I had a good day. But we've really started teaching them, you didn't have a bad day, you had a bad moment in that day. And that's true for all of our lives. We have, quote unquote, bad moments, and we just throw the whole day away. But that's not reality. Instead of enjoying, the rest of the good day that we had, we focus in on those couple challenging things, and we give those little challenging moments way more life than they deserve. Because the fact of the matter is, more often than not, we have beautiful days that we don't give ourselves enough credit for. Now, I get it. I get it when problems just keep showing up, like just one thing after the other. You get over one problem, you feel like you can breathe for a little while, and then you just get knocked over the head with another problem. I get it. It has the potential to cause stress. It can be exhausting. You just throw your hands up like, when am I ever going to catch a break? I get it. But again, understand, these are instances that are going to help you to prove to yourself who you are and who you're trying to grow into. Are you going to be the type of person that deals with the challenging situations and moves forward? Or are you going to be the person that deals with the challenging situations and it ruins their whole week or their whole month? Because you have to understand that the time is going to pass anyway. Challenging situations are going to happen anyway. And so you can either go through the rest of that time stressed and anxious and angry, or you can flip it and you can just understand it's just a challenging situation that happened, and don't focus in on it and don't blow it up in your mind. It happened. If you can do something about it, do something about it. And if you can't, let it go. But don't focus in on it. You're just making the problem bigger. And, it's always the anticipation of the thing that makes the thing worse than it actually is. Think about your entire life. Even going back to elementary school, whenever you would have a test, the night before the test, you're just stressed and anxious and just terrified. And then the next day when you go take the test, it's not as bad as you had blown it up in your head. And we've done that for our entire lives. We have something coming up and it's just the biggest thing. We focus in on it, we blow it up, and we just think about the worst case scenario that's going to happen. 9 times out of 10, that worst case scenario never happens. Or if the worst case scenario that we imagined does happen, it doesn't affect us emotionally as much as we had it blown up in our heads. It's much easier to deal with, despite the fact that the anticipation of it was terrifying. But what I want to tell you is you've made it through every challenging situation thus far in your life. Every single one. You're batting 100. You're doing perfect. Every challenging situation, you've made it past. And this one's going to be no different. So no matter what happens, if you got knocked in the head again after just getting over a challenging situation, you're going to get through this one too. But change how you're thinking about it so that you can get through it in a more positive and optimistic mindset. I wish we could all fast forward and look at our challenges in hindsight so that we can realize that really wasn't that bad. It was worse in my head. So you really got to stop giving all of your energy on what's wrong, because that's not where your future is. That's not where you're going, because where you're going is much bigger than this. But you're never going to get there if you stay focused on things that have happened in the past, things you can't do anything about. Stop focusing on those things. Focus on where you're going. And so what I've learned that I really like is to ignore your current 3D reality. So let me explain what that means. And I've said this before, but let me explain what it means. So what's in front of you right now is not your future. It's only a reflection of your past thoughts, your past actions, and your past energy. It's not your final destination unless you treat it like it is, unless you get so hyper-focused in on it that this is my life and this is all it's going to be, just crappy thing after crappy thing. I can never get out of it. You got to stop thinking like that. If you look around you and life is not as you want it, then it can change. First off, you have to decide what you want out of life. And it's easy to say, well, I don't know what I want, but I just don't want this. Well, you have to be more clear on what you want. If you want to be wealthy and abundant, then you need to change your mindset on these little challenging situations that happen and realize that they are necessary for you to grow into the person that you're destined to become. And stop putting so much weight on these challenging situations. Because the fact of the matter is, you couldn't grow without the challenging situations. We will use the example of trees. So someone created an environment in a biodome, and they planted trees, and they created their own ecosystem in this biodome. It had its own weather and everything. But what they realized was whenever they planted trees, the roots never went down deep. And so the trees they could easily fall over because the roots didn't go deep. And what the scientists realized was trees in the wild, so to speak, wind is what made them stronger, which is equivalent to like the challenges, things that challenge them. So the wind is constantly trying to push the tree over, which makes it dig its roots deeper so it gets stronger so it won't blow over. This is a metaphor for our lives. The challenging situations are what make us stronger. And without the challenging situations, we won't get strong. Now, you have to understand it's all mindset. It's all perspective, how you go through these challenging situations. Because some people can go through the challenging situations and it destroys them and it ruins their month and it ruins their whole life and they're always negative. They're never going to grow. Life's going to keep giving them that same test because they're not passing it. That's why their life sucks. That's why they're miserable, because they're not passing the test. Their entire life is, poor me, I can't catch a break. Man, it's always something. No, it's not. You have way more good days than you do bad days, but you have to start focusing on the good days. Stop giving the challenges so much of your energy. Because if you expect struggle, then that's what you're going to get. If you expect problems, then that's what you're going to get. But if you expect to be abundant, if you expect to grow from every challenging situation, that's what's going to happen. And then the same that would have destroyed you a year ago, now you look at it like it's nothing. Like, it's easy to get through, but it's all a matter of perspective. And this is why I tell people you have to start moving as the best version of yourself. And you really have to look and see, if I was the best version of myself right now, how would that person react to what's going on? Because if you're always miserable and you're always depressed and you're always, I can't catch a break, it's always something. Like if you have that mindset, then that's just what's going to continue to happen. And you're never going to grow past that mindset. But if you can look at it from a realistic perspective, you can understand it's always going to be okay. You can also understand everybody has challenging situations that they go through. But like the old saying goes, you can either go through it or grow through it. And if you're trying to become the best version of yourself, then you need to grow through it. Understand these challenges aren't there to defeat you. They're not there to keep you from getting where you're going. They're there to help you prepare to get where you're going. And you got to think about it. The version of you that has what they want, that's living the dream life that they want, they're not getting emotional over these small inconveniences. The best version of yourself, the 10.0 version of yourself, they're not letting their mood or their energy be dictated by things that they can't control. They're not dwelling on what went wrong. They're too busy living in the future. They're too busy, creating the life that they want. They're not busy worried about something that's already happened or things that they can't change. They're too busy worrying about where they're going, not focusing on where they're at. That's the problem, is too often people focus on where they're at right now and just completely dismiss where they're trying to go. And so they just stay stuck in the same cycle, in the same loop where they're at every single day, instead of focusing and becoming the person that has everything that they want. Peace, freedom, wholeness, abundance if it's abundance. Because the ones that believe in abundance, they're already walking towards it. And the ones that believe in lack, they're already ensuring that that's what they're going to live in, lack. And so again, it's all changing perspective. It's all changing your mindset, changing your beliefs on how the world works, changing your confidence in yourself that you can overcome challenging situations. You can overcome mild inconveniences that we put this huge title on that ruin our whole day or our whole week. It's a mild inconvenience. Take a 30,000 foot view of it and it's minuscule. And especially, as I said, in the grand totality of your life, it's nothing. It's going to mean nothing. Next week, in 6 months, it's going to be completely gone. You're not even going to think about it. So fast forward and get there now. Certainly it's difficult because you're right in the middle of it, and I understand that. But the faster that you can realize, I've survived 100% of my bad days thus far. I've always been okay. I'm always going to be okay. The faster you can adopt that, the faster you're going to get through it. So understand, if you're in a tough season right now, understand it's just a season. If you feel like you're always in tough seasons, then that's a mindset shift that you need to change. But you have the capability of changing it. And let me remind you that seasons always change. So if you're in a struggling one right now, it's not going to last forever. And if you feel like you've been in one for months or years, understand that within that, there have been good days, good weeks, good months. So don't hyper focus on the things that have gone wrong or the things that haven't reached your expectations or your desire for how things have turned out. And understand that there's lessons in everything that we go through that can only be seen in hindsight. So understand that if you're going through challenges right now, you're going to look back at this time and realize that you learned something. If you're open to it, if you're conscious enough to look for it. But you got to hear me. Your season is changing. Your breakthrough is coming. You have to keep moving forward. Don't get hyper focused on everything that's going around you that isn't meeting your expectations. Don't get hyper focused on all of the disappointments that are around you. Understand If you have the faith and you believe that it's going to happen, if you have the capacity to overcome your fears and walk forward, if you're doing it with integrity, and if you maintain an abundant mindset, knowing that everything is going to work out for you, it is going to eventually happen. There is a process that has to take place from the moment that you change your mindset to the moment that the good things start showing up. But you got to reframe your struggles. You have to reframe your challenges. You have to understand that these are just seasons and it always happens. But you've always been okay. No matter how bad the season looks, you've made it out of 100% of them. And you're going to make it out of this one too. And I know you're just asking yourself, well, when am I going to catch a break? Change your mindset on it. Don't focus on when am I going to catch a break. Focus on, I know where I'm going. I know what I want to happen. I know that it's going to happen. This is just part of the process, but this is where I'm going. You got to understand everything's going to work out for you. Everything's going to be fine. You just have to maintain that positive mindset. Look at your challenges differently. Change your perspective. Everything's going to be okay. But you have to look to where you're going and not stay focused on where you're at right now and not stay focused on everything that's going on around you. Because if you're not where you want to be yet, then this is training season. This is where you learn your lessons. But you got to learn your lessons. You got to go through it consciously. Don't give up. You're going to get there, but you got to go through this first. The challenges, the setbacks. This is what builds your character. This is what makes you strong. This is what's preparing you for the future that you want. Because if you feel like that, that means you're ambitious. That means you want more for your life. And if you want it and you keep going and you have belief in yourself, you will get it. But don't give up when the challenges come. Don't let the challenges dictate you, because they're always going to come. But how are you going to respond to them? Because more often than not, they're mild inconveniences. A vehicle breaks down. Mild inconvenience. Don't have the money to fix it. Mild inconvenience. It sucks. Sure, it sucks in the moment, but you've always figured it out. Sure, it might be a little stressful in the moment, but you've always figured it out. 100% of the time we figured it out. Now, certainly we don't want to go through those challenging moments because they suck. They're uncomfortable. They're inconvenient, but that's what builds us. That's what makes us strong. We can't get to the 10.0 version of ourselves. We can't get to the best version of ourselves if we don't have challenges that are going to strengthen us along the way. Imagine if you didn't have challenges, if life was just easy, you wouldn't learn a lot of the lessons that you have. So keep going, keep growing, keep learning, change your perspective. You can be, do, and have everything that you want in this world, but you got to learn the lessons. Don't blow the challenges up. They're a necessary part of your growth. Your time is coming. Your season is shifting. Stay ready for it.